Welcome to Screen Riot. This week's movie is The Big Heat, a film noir from 1953. This episode will contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's available to stream on all the major services for $2.99. Go check it out and come back to the podcast because this is Screen Riot.
Welcome to Screen Riot. I'm Justin, and I'm joined with co-hosts Eddie, Kyle, and John, and this week we're taking a look at a film noir from 1953 called The Big Heat. The film stars Glenn Ford, Gloria Grahame, and Jocelyn Brando. And yes, in case you're wondering, with the similarity of the Brando name, that is the older sister to famous actor Marlon Brando.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, kind of cool. So Glenn Ford, he plays Dave Bannion, who's a straight-laced police detective who takes on the city's infamous criminals. I tried to figure out a quick way to get everything in a really small, compressed summary, and that's what I came up with.
That's pretty much it.
Yep.
Taking down the mob.
Not too much else really happens.
There's some other things.
There's some little things that we'll get into.
Things happen. You know, there's people acting and, guns being shot.
And explosions.
Cool movie.
That we'll get into.
Yeah.
So definitely, of course, obviously spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. So I was looking around. This is one of those movies, John, that since you picked this, you said that you picked it because it's labeled as one of the best, film noirs out there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a Google search because I'm not a noir or a black and white movie fan.
Right.
I'm not
Aficionado.
No, that I am definitely not. It's totally out of my wheelhouse. So I just Googled best noir films, and that was literally the first one that came up.
Okay.
So okay, I'll add it to the list.
Well, did you know this wasn't even nominated for an Academy Award?
I can see it. But what was
Really?
what was actually in there in 1953?
That I didn't look up.
Oh,
Well,
man,
what
you should
was-
do your research.
What was odd about that, though, is that Gloria Grahame apparently won Best Supporting Actress in '52. So and I the critics back then in '53, they're like, yeah, she should have won for this too, but don't know what they were smoking.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I liked a lot of the acting in here. And we talked a little bit, Eddie, about, we kind of compared this a little bit to the other quote-unquote mob film noir we watched earlier, Kiss of Death.
Yes.
And how you hated the character of, Kyle, remind me the actor's name. God, I can't think of his name.
I don't know his name, but the crazy guy.
Yeah,
hey, I am the crazy criminal
Oh,
with
man.
this voice.
You
Constantly.
had me look up the Oscars.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, we're pals.
We need more
That guy.
interns.
Yes, that guy. Who,
Interns. We need interns.
he was like the quintessential 1930s gangster voice, and it's like, ugh. I don't know. I don't like stereotypes like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which you hated that movie. We didn't hate the movie, but you hated that character.
I had that character.
Right.
I thought the movie was actually okay, but the character, no.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were talking a little bit about this because you said that you were glad that they did not try to replicate that
Yes.
in any of these characters, and I'm actually pretty glad they didn't either.
Yeah, I thought that the characters overall, I felt like each one, because there were a couple of tropes. I mean, you had like the assistant DA ordering around the detective. The listen, okay, you can't because I said I'm the DA. That kind of stuff. But other than that, I mean, the wife especially was her own character completely. Especially for this time, that type of wife didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Even the bad guys for the most part. I mean, the main bad guy whose name I'm suddenly forgetting, the one who pours the coffee on the girl. What's his name?
The character you're talking about, Richard Widmark.
That's it.
Thank you.
That's the actor.
Yeah, from
that
Kiss of Death. Yeah,
Kiss of Death. Yeah.
What was the bad?
Vince Stone,
Vince Stone,
played by Lee Marvin,
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
who I love in. I think. Oh, what is he in? He's in. Crap. I know this. I
we're
know.
dropping
Don't
all
tell
names
me.
Today.
Don't tell me. He's in.
Our brains are terrible today.
Green
He's in
Acres.
Liberty Valance. He is Liberty Valance.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
And he's also in Paint Your Wagon.
Gotcha.
Those are the two that I just kind of know off the top. Well, I apparently don't know off the top of my head, but I did. I did when I wrote my notes.
It's kind of like midway back, but in
So
your head.
what I liked about that criminal though was that I mean, he was a little bit of a stereotype, but not really. I mean, he seemed to kind of sort of care about the girl that Debbie until he obviously didn't and threw hot coffee in her face. But I mean, the way that he handled himself, the way that he kind of walk through. There were other people who were the boss who came in who was yelling at his friend, yelling at the. What was the guy's name just now?
You're talking about Vince Stone.
Vince Stone. Vince's friend that starts to open his mouth, and Vince is like, shut up. Because the boss comes in. The boss was very stereotypical. The boss was like, hey, what are you talking about? Like, he was overplaying.
New York gangster.
But the rest of them, the main core characters, I thought they did a good job.
Did really well.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they didn't, I don't know, they didn't overplay their hand, if that makes sense.
And I like how they had Lee Marvin basically be an equal to Lagana, the bad guy, the boss.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was basically the only one in the film that could actually stand up to him and say, "Look, no, this is what we need to do."
Yeah, which makes sense because of his character. He was a politician, right?
No.
Vince Stone.
Oh, Vince Stone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
So, but we don't really know in what capacity.
Vince Stone. No. Vince Stone was he was kind of like the muscle.
Yeah, he's the muscle of the
group. You're talking about.
Yeah, you're talking about the guy who was laying in bed in the pinstripes at the beginning.
You're talking about Howard Wendell. He was the commissioner. Commissioner was the politician guy.
Okay.
Yeah, who was the one laying in bed at the beginning whenever the guy that I know it's like his butler or his man or something like that.
Yeah, that's Mike Lagana. That was the mob boss.
Oh well, shit. Then I'm getting it mixed up too.
What movie did you watch?
No, I'm getting it mixed up too. Mike Lagana's guy. That was weird to me at the beginning because
the butler, the manservant.
Well, because he showed up in a robe too, and I was like, oh, this is a very progressive movie for 19.
Excuse me, you have a call?
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean,
it was just in the middle of the night, so the butler had to get up too.
Totally made sense.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, and they didn't.
What do you want? Do you have a hat on? Do you want to have a cane?
I want tails. I want a tuxedo with tails. Like
that's your stereotypical.
That's how all my butlers, show up. Tim Curry and Clue. That's how they should all look.
You know what? You never saw Alfred in Batman.
See?
In the robe. You always saw him in tails.
Talking about the beginning, by the way, I liked how they kind of opened. I wasn't crazy about the gunshot thing. I thought that was a little
The suicide?
I was like, whatever.
Absolutely no blood in this film.
Yes, I noticed. The wife, though, coming down and sort of, I mean, the way she handled it and stuff was weird. I mean, to the point where you were like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, what's going on here? Right. And then
you knew something was up.
You knew something was up. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Your immediate thought is, oh, she wanted him to die.
Or something.
Or something around those.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. It kind of hooked me because I was like, okay, well, but why? And then she makes that call and she's like, he's like, it's the widow. And he's like, she said the widow. And he's like, yeah, she said the widow. It was a very novel way of opening. You know what I mean? Well, to be honest with you, it was a very modern way of opening. It's the way, we typically are used to movies hooking us now.
Yeah, get right into it. Yeah. These movies that are around this time area, they were really slow burners at the beginning. Well, I mean, going back to Kiss of Death, that had a pretty interesting opening to me. With the whole jewelry thief, or heist, I should say, and all that stuff. But this, I think like the first 5 seconds is a suicide. It's kind of crazy. Yeah,
I think this movie and Kiss of Death, though, both had the same issue where you had that like being thrown into the mix, and then it just brakes get put on, and you're like you sort of stall out for a few minutes. You know what I mean? Like after the gunshot, and then the crime boss guy gets called, and then the detective all these people get called, and it just seemed to take a while for anything to happen after that.
Well, they introduce you to virtually all of the
main characters.
Players. The main players in the first 15 minutes of the film.
Right.
Yeah.
Where it slows because you have to see them on screen to know exactly who they are.
Yeah. No, I get it. It went from like, oh, I'm kind of interested in this to like, oh, cool. Oh, somebody else is getting a phone call. Okay. Well, that happens.
I gotta say though, Glenn Ford was definitely a very believable character.
Glenn Ford.
Yeah, he was Dave Bannion or Bannon or Banyan.
Yeah.
He was definitely believable. Like every scene that he was in, he definitely felt the part.
Yeah, I agree. I felt like he was trying to channel Bogart a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good call.
Yeah, you can kind of see that. Yeah.
You're trying to be very stoic.
Yeah.
Very. I guess alpha male, and
I'm gonna say my lines, and I'm only gonna say them once.
Yeah,
there were a few times where I felt he faltered a little bit, but those actors that were in the scene with him picked him up. So you really don't care about it, because I think every single actor did a phenomenal job in this film, and especially Gloria Grahame and Jocelyn Brando. I think they were both amazing.
Jocelyn Brando, especially playing the wife. Okay, so I saw what was coming. Spoiler for everyone that didn't watch this movie yet.
But when did you see it?
I saw it pretty fucking early, because here's the thing: they were trying to endear us to her. Like, she was on screen a lot. She was really cool. Like, they had a really good marriage. They were having trouble with their daughter. They're talking that out. Like, it just seemed.
What you have to do, though.
What do you mean?
I mean, if you're gonna make anything happen to the wife, like the car explosion, you have to have it mean something.
Yeah, which is why I'm saying I saw it coming.
Yeah.
Like, if the wife was just a throwaway part, if he just came home and she's like, honey, what's wrong? And he's like, oh, these people, every day I'm hunting the killers and I can't find them. And she was just a bystander in the whole situation.
Well, just like every other woman in this movie.
Well, and
every other woman was just thrown to the side and be like, yeah, just close the door behind you.
Debbie Marsh was pretty integral to the movie. Without Debbie Marsh, there's not a lot of shit that happens at the end.
Well, true.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say a lot of other movies from this time period, the women are thrown to the side.
Correct, yeah.
Like, this one didn't do that, and as they made her more and more integral, I was like, oh, no, she's definitely going to be, something's going to happen to her, because he's basically knocking on the door of the mob, and there's no way that they're going to let him get away with that. Mm-hmm. So what's the, it almost, to be honest with you, it's like a 1940s Punisher. 1950s Punisher.
It kind of is.
Situation. Yeah. So
he's out for revenge.
Did you notice that every quote unquote main woman who comes in contact with Banyan dies?
I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
Every woman who comes in contact with Banyan has a fate, is fated to die in this movie.
Don't get paid that extra to be on film with Banyan.
Yeah.
Well, except for the chick that got her arm twisted or something like that at the bar.
The Dice Girl, yeah.
The Dice Girl.
True. The Dice Girl and the lady in the older lady in the junkyard with the gimpy leg.
Yes,
which was a weird. Yeah, I agree with you. That was a weird character. I don't know. I wasn't. I don't know. It just seemed kind of strange. Mm-hmm. Like, she was like, I'm in a junkyard. Like, just hang out in the junkyard, huh? Like,
she was like a secretary.
Well, she was a secretary, yeah.
But where she was at, it wasn't like he went into an office. I don't know. It just was weird the way that scene
you would expect that to like be like she would be hiding like outside
or something like
that. Just not like, I'm gonna chase you down with my gimpy leg in the middle of the junkyard.
Yeah, it's a little strange. I don't know. Overall, I thought Banyan's character, he was a little canned, in my opinion, just a little bit, not horrible, but definitely a little canned. But much in the same way that the lead from Kiss of Death was. Mm-hmm. The lead from Kiss of Death, I still maintain, did an okay job. He didn't do a bad job. The worst character in that movie was Old Annoying Voice.
Woodmark.
There you go, that guy. Mm-hmm. I thought Banyan actually did a pretty good job. But I do agree. I didn't catch Bogart, but you're right. I mean, he definitely is. See, like I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna catch all the bad guy. Like, he, that came across a little bit, but not so much the voice, more the attitude.
Yeah, it's the attitude. That's what tipped me off.
Speaking of the Dice Girl, did you
Mm-hmm.
realize who that was?
Nope. Was it Shirley MacLaine?
Nope. Carolyn Jones.
Okay, who's Carolyn Jones?
The original Morticia Adams.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, so that's who she was.
I didn't see enough of her to catch that.
She looks so familiar. And I'm like, I could not think of it. I had to look it up. And I'm like, holy crap, it's Morticia Adams.
Yeah.
Because when I saw her, I was like, well, she looks familiar. And then I looked onto the cast list today, or actually just before we started recording, and I saw Carolyn Jones, and I'm like, who'd she play? She played the Dice Girl. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see enough of her to catch that she was the original Morticia.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And she was, blonde.
Yeah, right. She was definitely blonde.
And so her face looks totally different.
Completely opposite. Opposite characters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of some of the women, the Debbie Marsh character, I was down with her. She was a little bit annoying towards the beginning. Yeah. They even kind of do this meta thing where they say, Vince, she's too young, she's too immature, kind of thing, But I did not see the big scene to me between Vince and her when he's confronting her next to the fireplace about about her seeing Banyan, and all that, and then he scalds her with the coffee. Like, I did not see that coming.
No.
Oh, I didn't either.
That made me jump out of my skin.
Yeah, like I hear the bubbling because they show a shot of him, like this bust shot of him, and you hear this bubbling, and I was like, "What in the world? What is that?" And they show a shot of the coffee pot. I'm like, "Oh shit!" She's about to get. I thought he was just gonna slam the glass or whatever, which I guess would still scald you.
Still hurt,
right? But he throws the hot coffee on.
And that was wasn't that after the car explosion? I think it was.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was a little bit further.
So I think it was when she actually went over to his hotel.
Yes.
And then that was her punishment for actually going with him or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the turning point to me in her acting.
Yes.
Is that scene, after that scene, I don't know if I just felt sympathetic for the character. That probably could have had something to do with it.
She had the biggest character arc.
Oh, yeah.
You're right. That's what it was.
Yeah, her character grew up in that.
You're
in
right.
That scene,
You're
she
absolutely
grew
right.
up. She took responsibility for her life. She realized what she was doing, why she was doing it, and she was going to take control over it.
Yep.
Woo.
Yeah.
Did you guys see
Look
that?
at that.
Look at. Good job, John.
Psychologist
I like
John
it.
over
I
there.
like it.
She's gonna
No,
grow
but
up.
like it.
yes, you're absolutely right. Yes, that moment right there is
Yeah.
where it all clicked, and now that makes sense to me.
Well, now she's just like, well, I don't give a shit about this dude. Like, if he's going to treat me like that, then up yours. I'm going to go talk to this guy.
But see, I think John's right. It wasn't just that she wanted revenge; it's that she wanted to be righteous. She
Right.
wanted to. She actually wanted to make amends for what she had done a little bit, at least, before. And she wanted revenge against him. I love the scene though. Whenever she hits him with the coffee, and she's just like, "Now see," for both, and she pulls the thing off.
Well,
and I was like,
when she was describing, she's
Yeah.
like, it may not look like anything now, but wait until tomorrow, and that's when you'll see the damage. I was like, holy shit! Like,
Yeah.
she is really into this.
I wish I would have been a little more subtle with the makeup.
Oh yeah, the makeup was
The makeup
a
was
little.
a little,
Yeah,
little too on the nose.
It's like
You
we're
could-
going to take this fake skin that's melted and plop it on your face.
Yeah, it looks like they took like ground meat and popped it on her face.
Right.
Yeah, well, you
Yeah.
could see it kind of dangling off a
Yes.
little bit in the close-ups.
I did notice that.
I looked at it. I was like, "Oh man, the glue's starting to fail under those
Under
those
those
hot
lights,
lights."
yeah.
"Yeah, it wasn't perfect.
No, it wasn't perfect, no,
Definitely
but
wasn't perfect there. I'm with you.
Hey, at least they did that to cover, the lack of blood from the gunshots.
Yeah,
Especially all the suicides that have been going on.
that was weird.
There's
Why-
no blood spatter on the walls. There's no
Why
blood
wasn't-
on the desk.
Why wasn't there any blood
Well, remember,
whatsoever?
it's the 50s.
Oh yeah.
So they could not legally put blood on on screen. I mean, you couldn't show your belly button at that time.
So there's no blood in any movies prior to this movie. I feel like there was.
There might be,
If it was not shown in proper theaters.
Oh,
and this film wasn't even rated.
Nah, yeah, this is a not rated film.
well, yeah.
I wonder what do you guys think the rating would be today? I'm saying
Today?
PG. I'm saying PG-13.
For hold on, the same movie released
Yeah,
today,
yeah.
or
Same exact movie.
or they make a movie today using modern characters,
No.
modern stuff.
Like if this was actually ran through the MPAA.
Oh, that'd be a G.
No, I'm going to say PG-13.
I would say PG.
I was gonna say
don't know if
PG.
I don't know if I'd give it a 13. Why would you go to a 13?
Wasn't Jaws PG?
Well, mainly because of the car explosions, the coffee across the face. Yeah, there was a lot of
The gun
hate.
shootouts.
Yeah, gun shootouts. There's a lot of hate against women.
Okay,
know.
I can see
Okay,
PG-13.
yeah. You convinced me.
Get out of my head.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going PG.
But
'cause
there's
because
no
of Jaws.
language to bump it up to R, and there's
Right.
no skin to bump it up to R.
Right.
So looking at like current ratings, I mean it's easy to
But-
make a PG-13.
But you remember too, Jaws
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be PG nowadays either.
No, I agree.
So Jaws was what, 73?
Sounds right.
Yes. Yes. It was.
Somewhere around there.
And they're wanting that shit to be R today, isn't it?
Oh yeah, they would at least want it to be R, at least
People get eaten.
for mild violence.
Mild violence.
There is blood in that movie.
There's a lot of blood. That's why I was saying Jaws. Jaws is somehow managing to maintain their PG. Meanwhile,
Well, it's mainly but just because once it's rated, it's rated.
Yeah, they don't go back
I don't think
and
they change
re-rate
it.
no.
Yeah, I don't think. I'd be curious to know if there has ever been a movie that has been like re-rated after release.
I don't know.
Well, I know that. I don't know about after release. I know they will sometimes re-edit if they don't get the
Right.
rating that they want.
Yeah. Before
like-
release though.
Yeah, like Spielberg. Didn't he?
Raiders.
With Raiders, he changed the ending to Raiders.
Yeah, and the South Park movie was bigger, longer, uncut.
Oh,
The South Park movie.
Yeah, they had
was that R? And then they wanted it PG-13?
No, it was rated either NC-17 or X.
Oh,
and
a cartoon?
Yeah,
interesting.
And so they gave them all these notes to make edits, and apparently the story is the brother, or not brothers, but Matt Trey and Parker, whatever. They went back, made no edits, resubmitted it, and then got it as an R. And said they edited.
There you go. Just people don't care.
Well, I know the members of the MPAA. They're not advertised. You know, it's like the MPAA building is like blacked out windows, and you can't get in, and you know, it's more security than the Capitol building.
It's like the CIA.
Bad. That's bad, wasn't it?
The CIA or something.
Yeah, it's like the NSA building.
Yeah.
But I don't think the same people review the same movie twice.
Oh God.
Gotcha.
You know what this is like then? It's like my damn doctorate. Like I deal with the same people over and over again. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of having the study being reviewed by like the first chair versus the second chair is going to find things the first chair didn't. The first chair is going to go, well, I don't know what the problem with that is. It should just go through, and then it's very frustrating. It's very subjective. Right. That subjectivity is an issue. Yeah.
So let's get back to the movie.
Yeah.
Because we got a little off track there, but so let's talk about since we're on the idea of the women in the story here. Mm-hmm. We talked a little bit about the Dave Bannion's wife, and her death, right?
Right.
So you said you did see it coming.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't know how they were going to take her out,
right?
But I knew that they were going to do something because she was just too perfect.
Yes,
like it was the perfect. I mean, don't get me wrong. It appeared they argued. I wasn't saying like they, it was a wonderful life, like perfect in a perfect world. But in terms of her just being a good person, a cool person, they had a soulmate-y type relationship. I start a cigarette, you finish it. We share the same beer, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, well, not just that, but then she kept being on screen. She wasn't just a side character. They kept putting her back on screen. I was like, no, she's part of this story, but she's not part of this story. So how can she be brought into this story by killing her?
It didn't really hit me until like mere minutes before she went out because they were way too close.
Yeah.
Like the very beginning when we first meet her, she's cooking dinner and he's just coming home and she's cooking steak and stuff like that. And he's like, how can we afford this on, a cop's salary? They made that joke quite often of how bad the cops get paid. And that's true even today. But they're like, well, you could just tell them that you married an heiress and all that kind of cute talk back and forth. But, they weren't as close as that scene leading up to the explosion. Now, leading up to the explosion, he was like cleaning the pots and pans, really, really intimate.
Well, their roles reversed.
Like, everything got really, really happy, and then I'm like, that's where I thought, oh, okay, something's really gonna happen to her.
Do you think that was foreshadowing?
I think so.
With the role reversal?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure.
I guess that would be, that makes sense.
Because anytime we see her before what the scene you're talking about, she's doing the dishes, she's cooking, she's doing the, that 1950s housemaker roles.
Right.
But then when she's about to leave and ultimately die, he's doing the dishes.
Right.
He's putting the
kitchen back together.
And he's putting the kids to bed.
Bed. Yes.
Huh.
Kid.
Yeah.
Just
kid.
one kid.
Yeah,
Well,
kid.
sorry.
Yeah.
Kid.
And I don't know how you keep the car exploding a secret from the kid.
Yeah, that didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Mommy's on vacation.
It happened right outside her window.
Yeah.
That was,
and as long, I mean, as much as she's like around, like she came out when they were cleaning up dishes or something like that. It's like, I can't sleep, so she's gonna come out of her room. You would think that after this explosion we didn't see it, but she would actually walk outside, like, what's going on? I saw my dad come out here. What's going on?
Yeah.
But I did like the actual scene of the car explosion. Like, that was real. Like, the car was on fire. He was trying to bust out the glass.
Yeah,
like he was literally trying to get to this woman.
Yeah.
And even, did you notice the house right next to the car was even a little busted up?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
So they did like collateral damage looking.
So like
stuff?
even the people next door, they're like really close to the car, and even like I think it's their dining room or something like that had a lot of windows. Those were all busted out.
Little known story: they actually blew up a neighborhood for this movie. No,
Right? Yeah, it almost looked like it could have been an actual explosion, but I mean, they did a really good job.
And those jackass neighbors didn't even come out and help.
Right? They just looked out.
Right.
No, seriously, they were actually at the windows, like,
Were they?
The least believable part about that scene was the wife actually being pulled out of the car.
Oh, right.
That was the least. I was like, oh man, she's gonna be burnt up, or she's gonna be like black, at least black, right?
Not even a scratch.
Nothing. I was like,
Well, the way how he so easily pulled her out of the car, it made me think it was a dummy.
Oh, it definitely wasn't a dummy. It was definitely her.
It was? Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely her, but she looked like she had just walked out of the house.
Right.
And I'm like, no explosion.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, there's going to be something.
I mean, I guess they could explain it to the kid that it was lightning or thunder, but it wasn't raining.
It was thunder.
Killer?
No, I mean, to say, like, what's that noise?
It's an asteroid.
Oh, yeah.
Asteroid hit the car.
Yeah, an
Asteroid.
asteroid. Space killed your mother.
It was Halley's Comet. What?
Yeah.
No. It's Katie's Comet.
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus. Anyway, I just thought that scene was kind of cool because
I did like it.
It not for the fact that she died, but I liked that they took that scene serious. Like the car was on fire, the building was destroyed behind it. So
Well, and it caught me off guard. I mean, like I knew
yeah.
something was going to happen because Justin and I were talking about this earlier. We knew it was going to happen, but he and I thought it was going to be like the brakes went out in the car.
Yeah.
she was gonna fly off a cliff.
I didn't
Right.
think it was going to be such an explosive moment.
No,
Oh.
no.
Boom-ch. Yeah,
Wow.
it's usually John who makes those jokes.
You know, it's
Join
funny.
our
Not
Patreon.
today.
He didn't even throw you a Waka Waka with that
no.
one.
But I-
Jeez.
but
Not even
I-
a layup for the Waka Wakas.
Both my wife and I jumped because I mean we watch a lot of these black and white movies. Not necessarily noir based movies, but we do watch a lot of black and white movies on TCM or something like that. So for something like a car explosion like this to happen, it's like so close to a house. Like you've seen cars explode on a highway or something
Right.
like that, and it's fine. You don't really see anybody hurt. But to actually have like the house shake, the camera shake, and everything, it was like, holy crap, we were actually there. And I've never seen that in a 50s film or even like a 60s film for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I'm glad that they pushed the envelope right there.
Yeah, me too.
And I like the since we're getting into the camera shaking and all. I really like the look of the film.
Okay.
Yeah, it
You
was
know,
super clean.
It was very clean. They didn't a lot of noirs go overboard with the darks, but they made the darks subtle, and they did a lot with lighting on the faces of the actors.
Yes.
And that really helped to set the mood that they were trying to convey.
Especially with what's her name, the one that got the coffees splashed.
Debbie Marsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you notice that the light was right on the scar, or like right in between? It was just almost like Two-Face, but the light was actually, or the shadow was on her bad part, and the light was on her good part. And every time that she had light on her bright side, I guess it was lit. Always when she was on camera from then on with that bandage off, they always shadowed her left side, which I thought was kind of cool.
That lighting technique is kind of like that's like one of the first things you learn, like when you're learning how to light for film and all. It's called the Rembrandt effect. It's
Gotcha.
where you basically do like a Two-Face kind of thing, and it's supposed to bring depth and mystery and all these psychological bullshit to it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
works.
It does. I mean,
That's
there's a reason it's used.
Well, that's like Canted Angles. That's my favorite used. If you don't learn anything about film school, you don't really need to. But my favorite angle that filmmakers use is the Canted Angle, where the camera's basically
You like going Dutch?
it's like sideways at a 45
The
degree
Dutch
angle.
angle.
And in Rocky, the scene where Sylvester Stallone and Mickey, where they're arguing on the stairs outside of Rocky's apartment, and Rocky just kicked him out. Mickey had said, "I want to be your manager" for the first time in years, and he's like, "It stinks in here, and you, where were you? I needed you," and blah blah blah. Well, there's like, as Mickey's walking down the stairs, the camera's just turned at this guy's life is basically fucked, and he's it's just such a. It just works. It shows you the whole moment is kind of screwed up, and then whenever Rocky comes out and wants to make everything better, whoop, camera's right back to normal, and everything's back to good.
It leaves you in an uneasy state.
Yeah.
It's like your life is literally almost turned upside down.
It's exactly. It's sideways.
I mean, you can. They say that a really good cinematographer, you could watch his movie, a movie that he shot, without any audio, and still understand what's going on in the movie.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just another film language.
Especially Rocky. I'm sorry, but Rocky to me, not just because it's a boxing movie, but it's one of the best. That's one of the best movies made in the last 100 years.
I love Rocky.
I think it's just an amazing movie.
Yeah,
so.
that's one movie that if even my wife, if she's flipping through the channels, it's like, oh, it's Rocky. I'm gonna leave it on Rocky for background noise.
Yeah. Now Rocky 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. Not as good.
They progressively get worse.
Yeah. 1, 2, and 3, and I'll give you even 4. Pretty solid movies, though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but 1's definitely my favorite.
So a lot of interim stuff in this movie. We're bringing out big plot points, right, and big subplots in this movie. But a lot of it is just kind of Dave Bannion just kind of going around town and interrogating people.
Well, he's doing his job.
Right. He's doing his police.
It's like the only cop out there that gives a shit about anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody else is like, leave it to the county sheriffs. You know, that's not our job. You know, who cares about those people?
Going with what Justin's saying too, though, I agree with what you're saying. Yeah. I felt like that was, since we're done kind of kissing the movie's ass for a second, that was one of the big flaws of this movie, is that I felt like the movie could have been about 30 minutes long. Like, there was certain parts that I was like, I don't know why we're spending as much time. I mean, because the interrogation scenes, some of them just seem to take a really long time. Granted, they're only like 5 minutes long, and there's just a ton of them.
Right.
But it seems to just take a really long time. You know what I mean?
And that's the Noir.
Yeah.
The Noir film. It's about a detective.
Yeah.
Doing his job. You know, the one thing that I really like, and I was expecting to have a movie full of voiceovers.
Okay.
Because that's the typical.
And then
I walked into the room and
she had legs that wouldn't quit.
Exactly. Yeah, that thing.
Banyan crashed the bar.
No voiceovers.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was great.
That was better.
So you don't like the classical noir detective thing with the.
With the classic narrator.
Yeah. And then she walked into my life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're gonna have a movie, show me. Don't tell me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Show me what's going on. Don't tell me. I'd read the book. Or listen to it on tape.
But to be clear, too, with the noir genre, because you guys are bringing up detectives again, as Kyle has pointed out to me numerous times, it doesn't have anything to do with detectives, right, Kyle?
That is correct.
Okay. I was making sure, because, It
is a filming style.
I noticed you weren't correcting anyone else in the room, but that's fine. Yeah, you bastard.
Well, they are explaining the plot of the movie, so.
He was talking about noir as a genre.
No.
Yeah. Oh, God.
It's fake news over there.
Lord.
Watch it. We'll go get some coffee with you.
Oh, yeah.
Settle down.
I'll throw you down a flight of stairs in a wheelchair.
And did you guys catch the comment, the last line of the movie that Banyan says? He tells the cop who asked who was getting him coffee. He's like, keep the coffee hot.
Oh, that's right.
I'm like,
I didn't catch that. It was the throwback to the
keep the coffee hot.
Nice.
So we see not Rick Stone. We see Vince Stone. I don't know where Rick Stone came from.
Rick Stone.
So we see
it says different decade for this movie.
We see Vince Stone throw hot coffee on Debbie. We feel bad for her. She reconciles with Dave, but kind of goes back to his arms.
Yeah.
Because she needs help. And he finally starts kind of showing some compassion for her, because earlier when she did this, just because she had basically Vince Stone's stench on her, he didn't want anything to do with her.
Well, she wasn't really wanting to be a squealer either,
right?
At that point, and she was like, "I don't want to talk about it. I just want to have fun. I'm a young chick. I just want to have fun."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
So then that kind of really snowballs the movie, in my opinion. That's when it really starts to pick up pace for me.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's when I started really enjoying the movie.
Well, I think the main reason why she came back is with her bandage and everything. Is she's like, look what you made. Well, look what you made happen. It's like, this is your fault. Now you should actually give me a little, I don't know, 2 cents. Give me your 2 cents. I don't know.
Well, no, I agree with you. I think that the reason why she came back was because she felt like he was responsible.
Yeah.
But he kind of points out to her that she was responsible.
Well, it's like if you weren't in this situation to begin with, you
then
wouldn't
you
be
wouldn't
here
have gotten
anyways.
burned. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with you, Justin. I think that once we get to her being burned and her getting back with Banyan at that point, and at that point you can kind of see where the movie's going to go. You're like, oh, okay, so that's how he's going to get to Vint. That's how the whole thing's going to boil out.
Yep.
Now you're just waiting for it to unroll.
Yeah.
Or to kind of show up on stage. And I enjoyed the last 15 minutes. I think the last 15 minutes
15, 20 minutes.
It definitely wrapped up quick.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was going to mention that.
I think I was like, okay, so it's only an hour and a half movie, and it didn't really feel that long to me. But when I tapped the remote to see where I was at, I think I only had like 5 minutes, and nothing really happened. Until like maybe 2 minutes left in the movie. I was like, holy crap, they really wrapped this up quick.
Yeah. Well, how did you guys feel about the big showdown between Vince and Dave Bannion? Did you feel satisfied with?
For a 50s movie, yeah. I mean, it was typical. You have your banter back and forth, and the shootout was nice.
Yeah. What I'm specifically talking about is when he has Vince on the ground and the gun pointed at him, and Vince is saying, shoot.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But the cop came back into him, and he's like, now I'm going to put you in jail and make you rot.
Yeah.
Rot in hell or whatever.
I mean, because that was what his MO was at the very beginning of the movie, is he hates bad guys.
Right. But he's not a bad guy to shoot somebody and all that kind of stuff. But no, what I really did like is the guns. The guns in it, he actually reloaded. Because I was starting to count. I'm like, okay, shootouts typically just, you have an infinite amount of bullets, and we're just going to have this crazy shootout, and then one of us is going to lose. But there was a reload during the shootout.
I know Vince
reloaded.
He ran out, didn't he?
He ran out, and then he ducked behind like a flower pot or something like that and started to reload.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I think the Banyan character in particular, we thought he was going to go Punisher, and instead he ended up Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I didn't feel unhappy about it, but at the same time I was like, oh, I kind of wanted to like blow his fake brains out, but okay, I could deal with that, I guess.
With no blood whatsoever.
It's not a horror film.
I mean, do you feel like
I would have loved if Eli Roth just came in out of nowhere and ended the movie.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, but do you feel like Vince got his justice? I mean, because he, domestic abuse to Debbie, trying to kill Banyan, and all the other stuff that
he's probably
we don't know that he's done.
Yeah, he's probably had his hand in 100 murders.
Well, I mean,
he's known as a thief.
They imply that he's going to jail at the end. The two cops show up, they take him away. I mean, they at least imply.
I mean, he's going to be tried for murder.
Yeah,
with
so
Debbie.
I mean, I would
attempted
assume,
murder of the cop.
Yeah, I would assume that they intend for that to be a wrap up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Was it a satisfying?
I'm asking. Yes, that's what I'm asking. Is it a satisfying ending to anybody?
Well, from a modern take, no. But like if that movie was made today, I'd be like, because there's movies that are like that I'm like, fuck, I wish they had just given us a little bit more, just something to where it feels finished. But for a 50s movie, I felt like it was adequate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't make it it's not a 9 rating ending. The movie's good. There's good parts about the movie, especially there's some weak parts, but that ending I wouldn't say is amazing. But at the same time, I wouldn't be like, oh, it's dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's an in between in there somewhere.
Yeah. What about you guys?
Well, the only thing that I did not like though was the commissioner didn't get shit.
Yeah.
There was nothing said about the commissioner because he was involved with everything.
Yeah, he definitely had his hands
was the
in
puppet.
the pot. Yeah.
He was getting controlled, and it's like there was no justice for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of threw me off.
Yeah, if they would have had that would have been better. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the ending. I think having the good guy stay the good guy was smart, and I didn't need to see Vince get thrown in the slammer.
Right.
I knew he was getting his punishment, and that was fine. That was fine for me.
I think I took away the same thing. I was glad that they left the good guy.
Yeah.
And he didn't kill Vince out of malice or just, wanting to do it or whatever. Because they definitely put that in your mind, because who wouldn't want revenge for someone killing your wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
But So one thing that I did find funny about the whole shootout scene at the end, when they're both ducking behind those flower pots, it really made me think of like that scene from Naked Gun where Leslie Nielsen and they're like 2 feet apart and they're trying to shoot each other.
Yes,
It
good.
reminded me of that.
That's probably what they were making fun of.
That's
was
what I
this
think.
movie. Yeah, it's
I
very
thought
possible.
That. Yeah.
That's great.
See, that's my problem with older movies like this. Because don't get me wrong, on the one hand, I can appreciate it. Like even Kiss of Death. Like I said, there's stuff about it I could appreciate, but then the comic aspect of it is just so hard to avoid in some instances. Like they just aren't. There's no reality to it. You know, like the guy shoots himself in the beginning, and there's no blood. There's no emotion to it. The woman, I mean, granted, we know why the woman is the way, the wife is the way she is, etc. later, but there just seems like to be this disconnect between the character, or excuse me, between the actor and what their character is doing. There seems to be this great disconnect. And I don't know, it makes it very hard for me to, I mean, I hate to use the word connect, but it makes it hard for me to connect. Right. I'm like, it just feels like a bunch of gray and black images moving across the screen.
Yeah.
And that makes it difficult.
Yeah. Well, what about the death scene between Debbie and Dave? Was that
long?
Yeah.
Well,
a little.
Yeah, and the fact that she's like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die, and I'm like, well,
do it already.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, it's. I mean, I don't know. There was no like realism in it to me. She was just kind of repeating lines in that scene.
Well, and it went on.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
like it went on, and I mean, it's not that. It's like now, like looking back. I mean, hindsight's 20/20. She should have. It's gonna sound bad. She should have just died before the paramedic got there. You didn't need the paramedic to come in and listen to her heart. She's got a gunshot. Why the hell are you listening to her heart? Listening to her heart and go, no, she's not gonna make it.
He goes and checks, and then Banyan goes and talks with.
It's not worth moving or something like that.
Well, yeah,
it's not worth it. It's like...
the scene, the better scene would probably be, or the better cut would probably have been, he goes and talks to the lieutenant and one of his other coworkers or another detective, and then the doctor comes up, and instead of saying it's no use moving her, it's she's already gone. Mm-hmm.
Right.
She had already passed.
Yeah.
There's nothing that we can do. Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a little depressing. I thought it was a decent scene. I think you guys are right. I think it was a little long. It was a little long in the tooth. I like that. One of the parts that I liked about it was earlier in the movie, she asks Dave, tell me about your wife, and he gets choked up about it, and he can't do it, and he starts explaining like in a policeman detail, like a lineup kind of situation. She even remarks on that. But then when she asks him again when she's dying, he actually gives out this kind of long, drawn out, like better description, more talking about her personality instead of her physical attributes. I
don't know. With Debbie, I almost feel like they could have gone two ways. Like they went the way they went, which is the long, drawn out way. I mean, I hate to say comic relief because I hate whenever movies like this throw it in there with this piece of comic relief for no apparent reason other than to make the other parts a little bit more depressing. But I kind of would have laughed a little bit if she'd been like, "Go get him, Banyan," and just it's just one quick,
like her last words.
Yeah, it's just like, "You get him good," and just out. Like that would have been.
I like how it wasn't over dramatized.
Yeah,
or death. It wasn't like
gasping for air, and
but
it wasn't that where you see her, fall flat, and stuff. I appreciate
peaceful.
that.
Yeah, it was peaceful.
You're right, but it was so long. It felt like it was being over dramatized. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was being over dramatized without being over dramatic, overly dramatic.
Fair enough.
Does that make sense?
I know what you mean. Yes, they were like, "Oh, I just
but
can't."
I did like the only part that I did like about that scene is like when Justa was saying about the like when he was describing his wife and everything. She had already passed,
right?
But he wasn't done describing his wife, but he went ahead and said it anyways, like she was still there, just to get it off of his conscience. Because as long as you are able to say it, then it's like, okay, now I can kind of move on and I can kind of get over it a little bit better.
I'll be honest, I'm rewriting this movie as a comedy in my head as we go.
Oh my god!
And I can see him like smacking her. Hey, I'm not. And she was great with
Wake
my
up.
daughter. Banyan,
Morphine?
I'm not done with adrenaline, please. Like Pulp Fiction, sticker in the chest.
Well, so since we've thoroughly bastardized this movie, do we have any budgets?
The comedy.
Yeah, well, I don't have an actual budget, but I have some conflicting numbers on box office.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so I don't know. I might just go ahead and say it just because it's
sure,
no use in
point.
there's no use in actually guessing.
I'm conflicted about what we should do here.
Well, I'm not because I'm going to say it. So, IMDb actually has this the gross. Let's see.
It's gross.
It is gross. Cumulative worldwide gross. They have this at only $6,324.
I could see it.
Right. So I don't know if that's 50s numbers. But
It's probably
seems
50s
really
numbers.
low.
yeah. But I look up Big Heat in Wikipedia, and they say the box office was 1.25 million. So I'm wanting to say that the 1.25 million was inflated for the time's sake and everything.
Adjusted. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was probably inflated too, but
Well, of inflation, like if they took the 6,000 and inflated it to 2020 numbers,
Yeah. No,
it would be 1.25 million.
well, they would adjust it for 2020. I'm with you. I was just making a joke that the movie that somebody on the Wikipedia board liked the movie and was like,
Oh no.
they should have made 1.25 million.
No, I'm talking about currency inflation.
But 1.25 million, is that what you said?
Yeah, for the
that's
box
really
office.
low.
It's really low, especially
Yeah.
because this is one of the movies that's on like everybody's top movies before you got to see before you die kind of lists.
Interesting.
But another thing I have on here is apparently Columbia Pictures paid $40,000 for the McGivern's novel rights. So they paid that author rights to make this movie. So there's at least $40,000 they had to spend in this budget.
And they made back in $50s $6.
I mean, even if you do the 1953 to 2021 inflation,
Okay.
it's $58,533.
Interesting. Yeah, so
I don't know where the
I don't know,
1.25 is coming up. Yeah.
an
So
unknown number for budgets on this
That's
round.
fine.
so the I was gonna say though real fast too. I could say, I mean, talking about like you're saying, they spent money on $40 grand to be able to get the novel and whatnot. I mean, there was a decent amount of stuff for it being a 1950s movie. That being said, I don't understand why it would end up on anybody's bucket list of movies.
Unless you're really, really interested in film noir.
Okay, granted, if there's a film noir bucket list and that's like it's like the top 200 film noirs ever, then I could see it.
Well, who writes the books? Who writes the lists? The critics do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So the critics loved this film.
Yeah, but
I'm sure.
we're critics. And I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know that we loved the film. I think we liked it. I wouldn't say that.
I would say for like a film noir, I don't know if it's listed as film noir though, but Double Indemnity
Yeah.
That is a noir.
way better, I think, than this one.
Okay.
That's actually one of the noirs on my list.
Well,
Okay,
since there's only
good.
like 8 noirs out there, I
there's
think
a
we
lot.
all have the 2 each. That
I mean, it lasted an entire decade.
Yeah,
There's-
right.
Oh wow.
There's only 2 of them out there.
Everyone's a critic.
Well, let's find out what other people thought. So on Rotten Tomatoes, let's figure out what the audience thought of this movie. Remember, it's a 1 to 100%.
65.
I'm gonna go 75.
80.
90%
Damn.
for the audience.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How many reviews?
Oh, I don't know.
7?
Yeah,
Sure.
There's only 2. One's mine.
Okay.
4.
Now you're talking about the Screen Riot. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So now let's do critics then. What do you guys think that the critics rated The Big Heat?
80.
I'm gonna go 97%.
95.
A smooth 100.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Whoa.
How many critics?
All 4
You gotta look
reviews.
that up. How many critics actually did this?
That's nuts.
All 4.
100%.
I will say that Roger Ebert
Gave it
Gave it
4
4
stars.
stars.
Oh
my
wow.
God.
33 critics.
Okay.
The audience was 5,000 plus, it says.
Yeah.
Did they? Okay.
Well, that's a pretty big number for critics.
No, it's a huge number. I'm just trying to figure out what movie we all watched. I think I got the wrong copy. Go ahead, John.
I
What
think
were
it's
you
just
gonna say?
because at the very beginning of this, you said, I don't like film noirs. I don't like black and white movies.
That's true.
I don't. I
So
never
you
said.
have-
Hold on. I never said I don't like black and white movies. I've never said that. There's black and white movies I do like. I'm not a big film noir fan because typically I'm not a big Scandinavian slow burn fan either. Those fucking movies do the same thing. They're dark. They drag on forever. Sometimes there's no point.
Yeah.
These movies at least have a point. I'm with you on that. It's just, I don't know. I get tired of hearing and I said this before, and you corrected me 64 times. Apparently, John can say it. You won't correct him. But
sorry, John. This is not a crime drama genre. This is a film noir drama.
Slap my hand.
He doesn't care anyway.
Bad John.
Bad
But
John.
what I was going to say
Wow.
was most film noirs I've seen always end up being a detective story,
Sure.
or a private dick story.
Because that's what was selling back then.
I get
when
it.
Film noir was a good niche.
It's not my favorite genre. It's not my favorite subject matter. You know what I mean?
Because
So,
film was expensive back then.
well, but I'm just saying. So I mean, the film noir part of it is not the part that I have a problem with. It's that it always seems to center around a topic I'm not a big fan of. Like I have no real interest in watching detectives go through shit. Now that being said, I like Seven, and Seven to me is kind of a film noir. You know, it's dark,
Kinda,
fucking
yeah.
detectives, but you see people get their skin ripped off and have like crazy shit happen. I enjoy
But it's
that
in,
movie
it's
more.
in color. But
It
I
is.
digress.
It is. Go ahead.
Are we done?
I don't know where to go from that.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
I guess you
Matt
can show your
Damon.
displeasure through your score, sir.
Oh, I will.
There you go.
Oh, I will.
So, John, why don't you go ahead and start us off with the Screen Riot scores?
Well, I really liked it. I really like this film. Classic good cop standing up against the system. Like I said before, some of Glenn Ford's acting it was a little stale at times, but the other actors on screen helped him out and made you forget about that. Really, I think the real star in the film is Gloria Grahame playing Debbie. She livens up the movie with her personality, with the exception of at the beginning her voice was extremely annoying.
Yeah.
And I think the women overall in the film are the stars. I mean, without them, I don't think the movie would have. I don't think I would score it as high as I'm going to score it, and I definitely would watch it again if I saw that it was on. With that being said, I'm going to give this one an 8.2.
Okay, so an 8.2 for John. What I said about Debbie with that character arc that you mentioned, that was a turning point in the movie for me. Like, I really liked her character after that point, basically. Her little scuttlebutt that she had with not scuttlebutt, a little scuffle that she had. That's the word I was looking for.
What, she gossiped?
Yeah.
She gossiped too much.
Again, I
Did
feel like
you
I
see
watched.
Vince's tie today?
I
Oh my
feel like
God.
I watched a different movie. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
The scuffle that she had with Vince really kicked that off. Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie too. I would probably watch it again if I came across it. The main character, Dave Bannion, he was okay. Wasn't my favorite character in the movie, but I thought it was fine. He did what he needed to do, I guess. And I enjoyed the car explosion stuff that we went over a lot. So I'm gonna do just an even 8, I think.
Okay.
Okay, so I thought that Dave Bannion did the character. I thought the character was okay. A little stale, like John brought out, but also at other times I thought the character was interesting enough to keep the movie rolling, if that makes sense. But just interesting enough. The women, I agree with John as well, are completely integral to the story, and I actually enjoy that, especially for a 1950s film, which often does seem to cast them aside. Now, granted, Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz and shit, yeah, it's female main characters, so I'm not saying all movies. I'm just saying that a lot of the movies that you've seen from the 50s, they just seem to be supporting actresses, not necessarily a supporting actress that actually is necessary for the movie to take place.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Beyond that, those women, I should say that Debbie and Jocelyn, Brando's character, and then Banyan, I almost didn't like almost any of the other actors that much.
All the supporting characters?
I thought they were okay. I didn't think Vince. I liked Vince. I liked him as well, but I thought they were okay. I didn't think that they were canned, but they didn't feel as authentic as those 3 or 4 did. Does that make sense? Beyond that, I would say that the movie probably is, for me, I'm going to go a 4.8. And
that's a movie you like.
yeah, well, it's, again, the biggest problem I have with it is that there are some scenes that it just feels like a stage play. It doesn't feel like a movie still. You know what I mean? So,
All right, so Kyle.
Well, you guys pretty much said all I was going to say.
Wait, is there anything else I can cover real quick before you go? No, okay, I'm just making sure.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think with that, I mean, I would give this, probably an 8.3.
Okay, so Kyle's giving it an 8.3, which means that The Big Heat gets an average score of 7.3.
Nice. Okay.
Not bad. Respectable.
I think so.
For a 1950s black and white film noir, it's damn respectable, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
I mean, if it gets 100% on, the critics, that's saying something.
It is. It's really weird to me.
Yeah, not too many of them out there.
Yeah, actually, I meant to say this at the top of the show, but we kind of jumped through. This movie was directed by Fritz Lang, which probably a lot of people probably know. He mainly comes from two massive movies. One being Metropolis,
Okay.
which was like a German expressionistic kind of movie, which is actually pretty cool. They do some really neat stuff in there with scenery and set design and all. But also the other film noir, M.
Oh, yeah.
He directed both of those.
I don't know, M.
So
Haven't seen that one.
1931.
Yep.
And Metropolis was from 1927.
The score for Metropolis is pretty good.
Yeah. So, okay. So with that, we got 7.3 for The Big Heat. So the next thing that we need to do is the round start over. All the hosts are available to pick for the next genre. So we need to spin to see who is picking.
I forgot we were doing this.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
We only do it every week.
Yep.
Just forgot. That's all it is.
Here we go. It's me again.
Hey.
John.
How does this happen?
That's the second time?
Yeah.
That's the second
Back-to-back?
time that's happened to me.
It's happened once to Eddie. Back
And
to
it's
back.
happened once to Kyle.
Yeah. So
I don't think. Was mine back to back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yours was
think you had
back
a
to back.
back-to-back one. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
This is
I'm
nuts.
left out.
I know. Poor Justin.
Oh, you know what
That's
it
fine.
was? Because I chose Tenet and then Jacob's Ladder.
That's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it was.
All
So,
right,
John, what genre are you going to be picking from?
let's see.
Western.
Western's gone.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this guy.
As the shootist.
I forgot.
What do you know? It's Western. No.
Romance.
Thriller.
Thriller.
Okay. I'm going to do a film that I thought I was going to A, not include in the list, but B, when I originally saw it, I didn't think I was going to like it.
Okay.
1 Hour Photo
Oh, I like 1 hour photo.
from 2002.
Poor Robin Williams.
It's a mentally unstable photo developer targets a middle-class family after his obsession with them becomes more sick and disturbing than any of them could imagine.
You know what I just realized, though? So, Kyle, so you know real fast, back in the olden days, we had to take our film to places to have them develop them. We couldn't just snap photos on our phones. So it took a while. And when it got really, really fancy, they were able to do it in under an hour.
Cool, Eddie.
Nice story.
Thanks,
Really,
Dad.
really appreciate that, Boomer. Man, life must have sucked back then.
You're welcome, kiddo.
I'm so young and ignorant.
Oh, you're not ignorant. That's not what I meant at all. Oh, man. So that's cool, though. 1 hour photo.
Yep, so the next one's going to be 1 hour photo. So if you want to follow along, just go to justwatch.com, search for 1 hour photo, and you can see all the places that it's streaming. Really cool website because you can see all the prices that everybody has, which is really nice. So let's talk about reviewing for the podcast. So this review that we'll read for this week is from a handsome gentleman with name of What's. And the subject, he says, is great show.
How do you know it's a he?
Because I know this person.
Oh, okay.
He says, the shows are funny, and I love the format of the show. They give out great information of the movie, and it's refreshing to hear some different takes on classics.
Classics. You hear that? You hear that, Eddie? Classics.
That was
I hear you.
Yeah.
That's very nice of
I think you appreciate classics even more than me, so you're good.
very nice of him.
Yeah.
So, if you would like to have your review read on the show, just make sure you look up the show, scroll past all of the episodes, click on write a review, and give us one. And hopefully you give us 5 stars. If not, that's fine too. We'll still read it.
And then go back and actually listen to some of those
Episodes?
episodes
Yes.
that you scrolled past. Yeah.
Yes.
Those, I was thinking videos for some reason.
Yeah, never mind. So if you can't get enough of Screen Riot, maybe you did listen to all the episodes. One, you could always go back and listen to them again. if you want. But 2, you can also join our Patreon, which helps us out a great deal to be able to keep putting this show on for you guys. So we'd really appreciate it for all of our listeners to please go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Screen Riot, where we have all kinds of benefits for joining. We do a monthly special every month, of course. I just said monthly special. Like the one coming out for February is going to be Hidden Figures, which I'm really looking forward to doing that one. So definitely keep an eye out on that. So with that, that's it. So thanks for listening, and goodbye.
See ya.
See ya.
Later.